Hey there, Bryant Cook. Today we are playing a league with the Epic Storm. I am joined by Alex McKinley. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah? Anything
Yeah,
happened to you or for you recently?
I got this little top four thing. Viewers, you may have watched my review of it recently.
You can find that in the card above.
Yeah.
So Alex top eighted or top forward the Legacy Showcase Challenge. Congrats to Alex. Alex now qualifies for his second Showcase Qualifier event. Alex actually top eighted that one as well last time. So Alex has been on a heater in the large events.
Yeah, I wish that they were named better, but it's super fun, super exciting, and TES is great. Crushes Delver. That's why we're here.
Yeah. I actually played a league this morning just get the old noggin working. And lost to Delver, but I feel like it was mostly because of me, not because of the deck. I didn't play that well.
Yeah, that's why he brought me on.
Exactly. Needed someone to teach me the ropes. So before we begin today, I do have to thank some people. We're doing a promotion currently on this very YouTube channel where currently members until the end of August, if you're a member, you get access to all videos early. Normally that's a combo Cabal tier feature. Well, now it's for all members, and we've had a spike in membership, so I need to thank some people. The first person I'd like to thank is Michael Yu, and then Haxerman, Jesse McMinn, Three Deuce, Eric Lessard, Brian McCourt, Western Space, Ari, and then initials GBS. Did I read that wrong? GSB, I'm sorry. Reading is difficult. Please forgive me. But thank you to all of you that became a member. It is greatly appreciated. And special shout outs to Ari and Three Deuce for being our first Stormtroopers here on this channel. And if you're a Stormtrooper, you get 50% off a donation deck every single month on top of 2 sideboard guides per month. You just have to message me with what decks you'd like and I'll make you those sideboard guides. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And the initial tier, for those of you that might be wondering, is just emotes, shoutouts, and badges. And then the Combo Cabal, which is the top tier I briefly mentioned, you also get a free donation deck every single month on top of early views, early deck lists, all that good stuff. So thanks again to all of you.
Yeah, and if you're part of our Discord, you get a special username color and section on the Discord. Join our Discord. There's a link in the description below.
Yeah, definitely do that. Thanks again, Alex, for reminding me of that. So I don't know if I'm playing the Legacy Challenge tomorrow, Alex. I might be playing the Modern PTQ with the brand new Luris Lotus Breach deck, which you can also find in the card above. So I decided that maybe today I would record some Legacy. I hope you're in, because this deck is I can't talk, so sweet. Alex, on top of your video that's here on this channel, I recorded 2 Legacy challenges with 12.4. This deck list is probably where I want to be moving forward. Obviously, we can make some adjustments for metagames, but this reminds me a lot of 10.8, Alex, where we have the foundation, and now from here, there's only slight adjustments that can be made until something else is printed. Would you agree?
I think I agree. Galvanic Relay is a card that I was initially way lower on than I should have been, and I think it's just the best card in our sideboard by far. With the printing of Prismatic Ending and the way the metagame has shaped up, Carpet falls off, and Relay just does such a good job of doing this like Necropotence impression against the blue decks, where you just chain them together and just draw way more cards than they can handle.
For sure.
And given how low Flusterstorm is in the meta right now, it's basically uncounterable. Yeah. Which is why you see us transform from being an Ad Nauseam deck in Game 1 to being a Galvanic Relay deck in Game 2.
Yeah, throughout this video, you'll find cards up above that will pop through. 3 of them will be those 3 events with the Epic Storm 10.4, so keep an eye out for them if you want more in-depth breakdown of this deck list. We're not going to break down every card today. Those videos do cover that, so make sure to check those out. Before we begin our matches, Alex, I do have to shill for a little bit. So if you're interested, go to theepicstorm.com/shop. That's where you go to support us directly. We have playmats, token pans, pint glasses, etc. The token pack, just so that everyone knows, we're running low on them. We're down to 17 right now. They're the original mini token pack. Go check those out. For $12, you get 54 combo tokens. 20 storm, 10 red, 10 black, 5 blue, 3 of the rest. There's goblin tokens on the back, and they're mini. You know, go check them out. we also have our donation decks. I mentioned them in the intro. You can go read about those at theepicstream.com/donation decks. I don't really want to do the whole thing today. I kind of just want to get playing Magic. So, Alex, do you have anything else to say before we start crushing fools with the Epic Storm?
Ah, let's get into it.
All right. I'll see you all in round number 1. Welcome to round number 1. Alex McKinley is still with me, begrudgingly, and we're facing Eurowick 3. Alex, I've played this person a bunch in the past on lands. I'm going to assume that they're still on lands. How do you feel about this hand?
This hand's awkward. We just get kind of destroyed by Wasteland, and these Mox Opals aren't doing anything. That said, I do like double tutor hands, but this hand is close to being able to do better. I think it's a marginal keep.
Yeah, so I'm leaning towards keep. So in my mind, there's a few things that could happen here. We ponder into land number 2, and then we play Wishclaw. And if we find Lion's Eye Diamond off that ponder as well, this hand becomes bananas. But even if you find Chrome Mox in a land, like, this is pretty good. Chrome Mox would actually turn on the Opals quite well. So I think I'm going to keep this, but I do agree with you that it's a low-end keep. You could argue that, like, your average 6 could be better. But one thing that I appreciate about this hand, there's no protection spells, which is something we don't really want in this matchup. So, like, every card here is potentially live.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's Delta search up that Underground Sea.
Yep, there's very little reason to get any other land besides Underground Sea here.
This is a snap keep.
Yeah. So next turn we can deploy the Claw, and then we have an easy line to a turn 3.
Yeah, if you wanted, you could also burn the second Opal to Burning Wish. I don't know if that's something we'd be interested in, but it's available.
I don't think so. There's just not very many cards we'd want out of our sideboard.
Well, you could argue like
in time.
Echo of Aeons, but then I think you're shutting yourself off a little bit.
Yeah.
Because like you're less likely to be able to ad nauseum. All right, so our opponent is still on lands.
Yeah, I think we're going to be just in time to do good things here.
So let's just talk this through. So we have a land on top. We can play Petal, Opal, Opal. These two would cast Burning Wish. Let's say hypothetically we want to get Pier. So we have a land on top, and then these 2 mana sources in play. So that would be 3 mana plus 2 is 5, 6, 7. We could actually hardcast Pier next turn. So I think we should Burning Wish for Pier.
We don't even need to wish for it this turn and burn the petals, right? We just do it all next turn. Convert the Claw into an LED.
Yeah, I guess we could do that.
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Leaves our options open too, so I think that's probably a better reason to pass the turn. Probably didn't need to play Petal. Not that Storm Count matters, but that's one thing that Alex and I talk a lot about it in the Discord. Once again, you should probably join the Discord. But people are really concerned with always having the correct Storm Count, and that's just not something that really matters with the Epic Storm a majority of the time. Because by the time you can cast a Lethal Tendrils or Grape Shot, it often just doesn't matter.
Yeah. So we have plenty of mana here to do whatever we want. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then finding LED off of Claw is 10 mana.
All right.
So this is one of the reasons why having these double tutor hands are really nice. Because being able to convert Wishclaw Talisman into an extra couple of mana on a future turn is really powerful.
For sure.
Or if we had to use the Burning Wish as a removal spell, that's also kind of neat. But
Peer straight into the Abyss, Alex. Do it.
Yeah. And I don't know. When you resolve Peer, you just start clicking on zeros on Magic Online. That's the easiest thing to do.
Yeah. We have a friend who is often in calls with us that's like, why don't you just kill your opponent? You're at 10 Storm. But that requires you to think when you could just like cast out the zeros in your hand and eventually win.
Yeah.
I'm just looking
for... Of course, Bryant is...
I mean, like, why not keep going, right? In case something bad does happen. Like, I think that's something not enough players do. We're unlikely to lose this game, right? Like, it's probably less than 0.5%. But why not leave yourself the back door? By casting that Brainstorm looking for mana, I left myself with the ability to Burning Wish for Grape Shot if our opponent was an insane person with main deck Veil, like us. So, why not? Like, just because most lists don't play something doesn't mean that all lists don't. So leaving yourself with that little bit of backdoor does help sometimes.
Yeah. So versus lands, we have a pretty easy sideboard plan of cut these Veil of Summers and board in our removal spells. And then there's a question of, do we want defense grids or do we want relays? And lands players are, and this player in particular is known for having some number of Mindbreak Traps or Pyroblasts. So it's definitely a real thing to think about. And this is where sideboard guides, like strict sideboard just in and out, doesn't always cover it. You have to sometimes think about what your opponent is doing. And if we want defense grid to help beat Mindbreak Trap, or if we just are going to play straight through Mindbreak Trap as if they don't have it.
It's worth noting that their list that has Mindbreak Trap is a couple months old at this point. That said, most lands lists, even if they're not playing Mindbreak Trap, do play Pyroblast or Force of Vigor. Defense grid does help combat those. And Relay doesn't play super well against Sphere effects, which are in every single lands list. So I think I'd be interested in keeping Defense Grid. Do you have any strong arguments against it?
Nope, I like Defense Grid. Yeah, Relay and then getting sphered is just such a bad feeling.
Okay, well, Alex, I have some bad news for you.
Defense Grid's not enough of a reason to keep this hand?
Yeah.
Even though we can play it on turn 1?
Exactly. I mean, if this were a Relay, I'd probably keep this hand, but turn 1 Sphere would still crush a Relay here. But,
or even turn 2 Sphere.
Yeah. Well, I would probably turn 1 Relay, but we're going to ship it. And this hand is a keep, in my opinion. The question is, what do you bottom?
I think it's Dark Ritual.
I agree, and I think that's not very obvious. A lot of, you know, people I think here would bottom like a Petal or the Opal, and I don't think that's correct. I think it's actually the Ritual, because by playing, or by holding onto the Ritual, you aren't able to play your artifacts into Brainstorm Fetch on turn 1, which is just way more important than like an extra 2 mana.
Yeah, and you're going to find more mana. This deck is made of mana. All it is mana.
For sure. All right, we're on the draw against Eurowick on lands. There's a Reclaimer.
Okay. No turn 1 Sphere. I like that.
That's interesting. So we can play turn 1 Defense Grid. The risk here, okay, they're F6'd. I think I'm going to play the Sphere.
Yeah.
For the grid,
I don't know if I would have gone Underground Sea, but
yeah,
probably fine.
I don't know. I wasn't thinking when I did it. I could have gone Swamp. Just allow me to get punished. It's fine. There's our Sphere Resistance.
Yep.
All right. So
now we can just kind of sit back and relax a little bit. There's no rush to cast this Brainstorm. Drawing another LED is pretty good.
I think I'm interested in casting the Brainstorm. You're not?
Yeah. There's no rush on the Chain of Vapor is a better statement.
Okay. I thought you meant on the Brainstorm.
Yeah. Okay, so that's just the nuts.
So we can set up for a win next turn. So next turn we need 2 mana to bounce Sphere, and then we need 2 mana to win.
I don't think the colors line up.
Yeah. So what we can actually do, though, is we can bounce the Opal, and that will create a mana.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that would do it. So we can win next turn.
So I think we put...
so I think we want to put Chrome Mox on top, because we can leave the trigger floating while we're putting Ad Nauseam on the stack.
Correct. Okay. That's good for us. Sorry.
I guess they're leaving up Reclaimer activation. I
don't know if my mic picked up my dog, but the mailman must be here. Condolences to the mailman who's probably about to get murdered or something. So we're going to attempt to bounce the Sphere here. And this is a little bit awkward. There's this friction with Defense Grid where if our opponent has an interaction spell, they could bounce the grid and then cast it. But that said, if they have Force of Vigor, they can already cast it or Mind Break.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they chose not to play it. Or not to bounce it, I mean.
So next up, we play our Wishclaw Talisman.
Correct. And then with Chrome Mox on the stack, we can cast Ad Nauseam. So it's actually better to do it on the stack rather than with the imprint, in my opinion, because if they want to force a Vigor, they can get the Chrome Mox with the trigger on the stack. So
yeah, I think if our opponent had Force of Vigor, they should have cast it now. So hopefully, because Bryant is casting Ad Nauseam, Bryant is better at casting Ad Nauseam than I am. But
why would you say that out loud? I immediately flipped Echo. Alex, just so the rest of you know, is a jinx. Alex just says the worst possible stuff he can and then gets punished every time and doesn't learn. He's like, oh, there's no way I could lose this game from 20 life with 5 mana floating, and then just like easily loses.
I am so good at casting Ad Nauseam. If you watch my review, I think I flipped Echo and Tendrils in almost every time I cast Ad Nauseam, which is very unfortunate.
Let's brainstorm. So I guess, I don't know. I was like, technically I could lose to Bolt. I don't want to lose to Bolt, so I'm not going to fetch. If for some reason something crazy happened, I don't know. But there's like little reason to go to 3 for no reason, right? Like I've been bolted out before by lands. Like you don't think it's ever going to happen, and then you're very sad. All right, our opponents had enough of me casting additional spells, and we've won match number 1. Stick around. Hopefully you found this entertaining, and maybe we'll get the trophy. Don't go anywhere. Alex, we have an unknown opponent. I have no clue what this person's playing. How do you feel about these 7 wonderful Magic the Gathering cards?
This hand's probably a keep. We just need to draw a bunch of initial mana sources, which is doable. I don't love having the Tendrils, but let's see what happens.
If that Tendrils was a land, this hand is a snap keep. But unfortunately, it's a garbage black card in our deck that we rarely want to cast in our initial 7.
Yeah. I'd love to draw cards here like Lotus Petal, Chrome Mox, lands. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Brainstorm is probably fine too, but
ideally our opponent's not playing islands, so Zagoth Triome. Maybe.
Well, that is certainly an island.
Yeah.
So I wonder if this is one of the Field of the Dead decks.
I don't know, but I'm not going to do anything here. I think I'm just fine passing.
Yeah. Like we could relay, but the problem with relaying is that we burn a lot of resources to do it, and we don't necessarily get a lot of resources back.
What is happening?
I don't know. Maybe this Tendrils is about to get very, very good.
And I just talked trash about it. I hope it doesn't. No! I think I'm supposed to discard a Burning Wish here.
Yeah, I think I agree. No reason to play out an LED and get an Abrupticate or something like that.
Well, honestly, that might not be bad because then we could cycle Veil. But, yeah. So there's a good chance that our opponent's like playing an Uro pile, I think.
Yeah.
They chose not to pay 8 life, which is sort of interesting.
Yeah, let's see what they do here. Just cast Uro. And I guess maybe their top cards were so bad that, yeah. Yeah.
Now they're going up to 22. They're getting farther away from Tendrils.
Ugh.
This is another reason that, like, and I talked about this recently somewhere. It might have been like an article, like one of the matchup mulligans. Actually, it was the matchup mulligan I did on Bant Control. About how Tendrils, a lot of players are like, oh, I'm facing a control deck, opening Tendrils is great. Uro actually changed that quite a bit, to the point where I don't think that's true anymore. So here, I think we get Underground Sea, Taiga, cast Claw, and it's fine if they answer it. Like, we don't actually care about that all that much.
Yeah, this Wishclaw is not fundamental to our current strategy. So,
but if it survives, you're just like really far ahead.
Yep. Low risk, high reward.
Exactly. Perfect.
Deal.
Love it.
Love to see it.
Yeah. We are looking for land number 3. You could argue that maybe we were supposed to get Trop Badlands instead, because with Trop Badlands you could Echo with Veil backup, but our hand is good enough where I don't actually want to take that sort of line. I'd rather just like try to do something a little more bit meaningful. We could get screwed here by casting this Brainstorm due to certain cards, but we didn't.
So we can put back Tendrils and then one other card that doesn't really matter.
So that's one line. I don't mind that. But also, our opponent's most likely going to fetch on their end step, going to 20, and then they could pay for library. I think that maybe what we want to do is try to get them next turn. Like, let's try to create a counter war over Veil and Burning Wish, and then just Tendrils from hand. So I'm going to put back the Pair of Rights, and then just pass.
Okay. Yeah, one of the better cards in our hand here is the Lotus Petal, because that gives us the third combo color.
Exactly.
For our Jund colored combo turn.
And they chose not to fetch.
That's really interesting.
Hard respecting Tendrils.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are they playing around Tendrils from hand? Okay, so they paid 4. They're probably gonna flashback Uro here and go to 19.
They're currently 2 cards short, correct?
Oh yeah.
Uro is 6, or is it 5? It's 6, right? 5. So there are 2 cards.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So
okay.
We do have to worry.
Flame per turn.
We do have to worry a little bit about Abrupt Decay because our opponent has Triumph. But honestly, I feel like I'm okay if they want to Abrupt Decay because it's Storm. So I'm going to play out Diamond, actually hoping that they decay it, because like we literally just want the Storm count.
And if this Burning Wish resolves, I think that there's a great argument for just casting Galvanic Relay.
We could probably set up a Burning Wish plus Grape Shot win. Or, I'm sorry, Grape Shot plus Tendrils win.
So 7 plus... Yeah, Grape Shot plus Tendrils is lethal. So our opponent has Hardcast Force of Will.
Alright, so this is going to get
so they're just dead.
Oh, it's like we set them up just to knock them down. I talked all that trash about the Tendies. Now here it is. So,
Brian, opening handing your Tendrils against your control matchups is awful.
It is. It actually is. This is just a game where it paid off.
Yeah.
So one thing I'd like to note is Alex last turn wanted to go for it. There's nothing wrong with that, but when your opponent's keeping up,
did I?
You wanted to put back Tendrils and go for it.
No.
You said put back Tendrils, but that's fine. Anyway, so...
I did say put back Tendrils. I did not say go for it.
Sure, I would like to talk now, please. So you could argue that, hey, you could have gone for it last turn, you had the Storm off Brainstorm, etc. So the problem with it is your opponent had 5 open mana, and in an age of a bunch of forces, that actually costs you a little bit. So instead of like taking this risky line where we lost a double force, we set up a win on this turn that was able to beat a bunch of counter magic, which is what you saw here. TS isn't always about speed against these blue decks. It's not 2018 anymore. We're the deck that has the longevity and usually this matchup. So what I'm trying to say here is like, don't be afraid to wait a turn, because oftentimes it benefits you in this era of Legacy.
Yeah.
All right, so we're doing our standard blue plan here. We're taking out Tendrils, even though it just won us the game, and add Nas. We're going to board out Ponders. Alex, why do you board out Ponder in this matchup?
So you board out Ponder. This is more relevant against Rug Delver, but you don't want to run into Pyroblast. Relay kind of replaces it in terms of being a cantrip, quote unquote. This hand is weird.
Oh, finish your talking point.
That's basically is player on Pyroblast, which isn't relevant in this matchup, but you don't need it. There's a lot of Narset effects that are showing up these days. Player on those effects, stuff like that.
Well, in my opinion, the bigger reason is Galvanic Relay. You need cards that accelerate you into Relay for it to be effective, but also like you don't really want to be cantripping a bunch off relays. You kind of just need to win the game. And the choke point off relay is often mana. It's not actually cards. So by keeping a bunch of mana in your deck, you're keeping yourself open. This hand is weird, like Alex said. I don't think that this is a keep. You don't even have a blue land, so you'd have to sack Petal. I think the average 6 is likely just better.
I think I would have kept it on the draw, but this hand's great. Yeah. So
I think we just bottom claw here.
Yeah, like because our deck is so action-packed, I think that there's a great argument for keeping the first hand of in 4 cards, you're so likely to see something that does something. Oh, that's insane.
I'm not going to make any comments. All right, so we're gonna fetch for the swamp here. And I guess we don't need to. We're against the 4-color deck, right? We do just get C here, Alex.
It's probably fine, yeah.
Like, I guess maybe
swamp.
they could back to basics us, but we're ahead
That seems crazy in their growth spiral deck, so.
Ooh, that resolved. So there is a card we have to worry about here from Modern Horizons 2. Alex, what would that card be?
From MH2. Oh, yeah.
Wasteland? What? So they're away from the loam deck, apparently. Got punished. Prismatic Ending was the
Prismatic
card.
Ending is the card. And it is a little bit odd because, like, we can't ad nauseum from this position, so we would have had to echo. But
we can now. Okay. Right? Actually, wait. I should wait. I should wait till next turn. The mana doesn't work.
Storm is 1. Ritual is 2. Mox is 3. Aeve is 4.
Do we want to do that though? I guess we could.
I'm just mathing it out.
Yeah, actually, I think I don't mind that. I think.
Yeah, I like Mox Imprint Decay.
I think you're right. 4 Ooze is likely enough.
Yeah, it's 2 turns to win. But yeah. Oh, and I guess we don't even have to sack the pedal. Yeah, that's great.
I'll be honest. When I was looking at it, I was like, all right, how do I get to Naws? Just like not remembering that we bordered it out. Are we getting stifled here? No way. Come on. We're being stifled. What pile are we playing against?
Playing Stifle? That's so insanely brutal. Man, imagine if they had let the Claw resolve when we put Aeve on the stack and they stifle the Aeve.
I mean, it would have been the better play, right?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't know that, but... Ugh, that's brutal. So we still have some mana on top of our deck. Yeah, so they have a life from the loam.
Yeah.
And we're not completely out of it here. We have lots of options. Drawing another LED is basically our fastest way to get back into this game.
We have a Rite of Flame on top.
Yeah. We know that they have a Wasteland in their hand. Here comes Uro.
Yeah.
They still have the Wasteland in their hand.
All right, we're just going to pass. No point in doing anything. So you might be wondering, like, hey, if they lose this game, should they switch plans? Like, take out Relay? I don't think so. Like, our best plan against Blue decks is still to bully them with Relay, even if they have Stifle. I think it's actually just wrong. So if they're going to tap out here, our best draw would be Diamond, because we could Echo for a bunch.
Yeah.
Yep. So we know that they still have Wasteland. Do they have a blue source? They do. Okay. Should we try to create a counter war here?
I think so. Like, Uro attacking just puts the clock on so hard. So, like, trying to do something here is not bad. And I feel like our opponent is inclined to force this, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have 2 cards in hand, so it's pretty likely that if they have double force, they can just stop us in a typical spot. And instead, we weren't able to do anything. Okay. I mean, I sort of had the impression that they could have been a Stifle deck once we saw the Wasteland.
Yeah.
All right, I've seen enough. Let's go to game 3.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
Yeah. So now we know that they're a Wasteland Stifle deck. That's changes things in terms of how we play, not in terms of how we sideboard.
All right, I'm just going to resubmit this. No need to change it, in my opinion. You're on the play. Yeah, this seems great.
Yep. Yeah. I think we take the turn 1 Echo, right?
Really? Okay. I was thinking...
So...
No, go ahead.
So I guess it's close, because, like, we're probably not going to end up with anything, but, like... And Rite of Flame Defense Grid is 2 for 2. But then we...
I was thinking that we just, like... Here's my thought process. We fetch for Swamp, turn 2 play Grid, turn 3 Relay Echo.
Yeah, that's probably better.
I mean, we don't have to, but that was just my thought process.
Yeah. I just feel a little bit unsafe passing with grid due to um,
Ending.
ending. So like next turn, if we like Rite of Flame cast defense grid, I think that that's also interesting.
I don't think we need to do that.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think that this is a Daze deck. I could be wrong.
I agree.
Also, with this fetch land, it's interesting. So if they force this or counter it, we can fetch next turn, and if it gets stifled, Rite of Flame LED Relay. Okay.
If this resolves, echoing like I don't know, like new 7 cards is probably worse than what we have here.
Well, if we echo, if like let's say hypothetically, they let it resolve because prismatic ending, we could shuffle away their ending.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just talking out loud here. All right, so let's say we draw a dud next turn. Let's say we draw a land. Is 3 cards worth waiting a turn? I think I like just casting Echo.
I think I agree. So one of the reasons to not cast the Rite of Flame, or we didn't necessarily cast, is that if we do that, then they're more likely to counter the grid. But we're gonna resolve this Echo and see where we end up. Okay,
this is fine.
That's not bad.
Just pass the turn.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana next turn, so we can theoretically relay out of the sideboard next turn.
Yeah, I'm inclined to cast the Brainstorm rather than imprint it.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Meddling Mage. We did side in Abrupt Decay, so that Meddling Mage is not the end of the world. Let's see what the name here. Tendrils was not the pick.
Yeah.
It's not even in our deck.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm still
so
going
if this
to...
Brainstorm finds any fast mana, we still get to relay. And if not, we just play Claw and pass the turn.
Ooh.
Ding.
Alright, so it's free to put back. Can we peer here? 4 mana, 5 mana, 6 mana, 9 mana, yes.
Yeah, so let's peer.
So for those of you that might be wondering, the easiest way of counting this is just that red source equals 4 red, 5, 6, 9. Always count with how the final math is rather than +1, -1, because it's just gonna like confuse you a little bit, and it's easier to just shortcut what the actual mana is. Oftentimes when I watch newer Storm players, you know, figure out the math or whatever, they end up like counting it 3 or 4 times, where it's just easier if you just always count what you end up with.
Yeah, so that's like Dark Ritual's a +2, right is +1, +2, +3, +4. Petals are 1, LEDs are 3, stuff like that.
Exactly.
And most of the time the colors work out, so you don't have to think about that as hard, but you just do have to double check that. I've run up in New Verns times where I've gone Petal, Dark Ritual, Burning Wish, get Empty the Warrens. That was something I did more often than I'd like to admit as a new player.
Alex, you know what card we're going to win with here?
Grape Shot?
Yeah. Never even needed that Tendies. Get out of here, your Stifle deck. Take your trash card and go home. Heat Stifle.
Which would you rather play against, a deck with 4 Stifles or a deck with 4 Karns?
Is neither an option? I think the actual answer is Stifle. Because like Stifle's a card we can play around and like maneuver around, where Karn just beats me or beats us.
Yeah.
But Alex, we're 2-0 in this league. There's 3 more matches. Maybe we'll get there. See everyone in match number 3. We're back for match number 3. And Alex, I know you probably want to mulligan this hand, but how do you feel about keeping it instead?
That sounds great. What are you talking about? We got mana, we got our colors, we got a Brainstorm to do some stuff with. I don't think running out the Brainstorm on turn 1 is necessarily what we want to do. We just play Volcanic and pass the turn. In
case they're on a black deck, I don't mind just like getting ahead with Veil. But also, like, if I
think that there's a risk of if they're playing Bant or something, where we play these out and they get ended.
I do agree. So. It could be either. But also, if they're a Chalice deck. All right, so they're just on D&T. Let's go brainstorm. I am going to wait until my main phase to cast this because we get to see an extra card that way.
Yeah, Dark Ritual is great.
Yes!
Ding.
Hell yeah!
So we
Love
put
it.
away Chrome Mox and...
I like keeping the Chrome Mox because we get to use it to imprint with Adnos.
I guess it's the same. Like, I guess it's the same.
Well,
I think it's actually a little better to keep the Opal, but whatever.
It's fine. Either is acceptable. And here... Wow, I'm not even allowed to win. Alright. Fine. Ruin my life.
So against Death and Taxes, the Yorion versions of Death and Taxes, which this isn't, play more Mind Break traps, and the 60 card versions normally don't, which is why it's okay to play relays.
So one thing Alex and I have done is hedge one relay, one grid. Alex, would you rather in this current metagame do 2 relay or the split? I'm up for either.
I think let's try the split, see what happens. I think both cards are like incredibly marginal versus Death and Taxes, because letting Death and Taxes untap after you bounce a Thalia is incredibly awkward. So relay is only good exactly turn 1 on the play. And this hand is not it.
I don't mind this. We have to get a little bit lucky in order to win, but it has potential.
Are you bottoming Echo or Ad Nauseam?
I think you bottom... It could also be Opal, but Opal takes away the out of drawing like a Chrome Mox in order to... So actually, hear me out. It might be best to do the land, because if you draw Chrome Mox, I think you can turn 1 Ad Naus. Where if you bottom
that makes sense.
If you bottom Echo, you have to draw exactly Petal. So
yeah, I think bottoming Swamp makes the most sense.
Yeah.
In case we want different colors. All right, opponent, what do you got?
That hurts. Well, we won game 1, which means we'll be on the play for game 3.
We would have had it too. So we probably just want to play Verdant Petal and pass the turn.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get Swamp. That's a bummer.
Why did you get Swamp?
Don't I get wasted?
Bryant, this is a definitely, it's not a Thalia.
I'm a dummy. Please forgive me. Please forgive me.
Right, we're playing against the 2019 cards, not the 2011 card.
Oh, that was dumb. Okay,
it turns out they both anyway, so.
Let's just go to game 3.
Yeah.
That was a bummer.
All right, it's fine. We'll win the next one. Opponent had the nuts. It happens.
On the play, I think I want relay for what it's worth.
Agree. Yeah, turn 1 relay is just great. So.
Okay, let's do it. So this is a turn 1 claw, which would be a turn 2 Ad Naus. Question is, I think we're supposed to keep this and just accept, the card we don't want to see.
Yeah. So we go like Swamp, Mox, Imprint, Rite of Flame.
Yeah.
Pass.
They kept 7. That's dangerous. In case of trap, you play out this one and then Petal last. Come on. Don't have it. Don't have it. No. Yes!
Yes! All right.
All right. Carefully click on the Ad Nauseam.
I mean, you could just make it bigger, but yeah.
I get nervous about that too. I get nervous I'm going to misclick. All right, so we did add 2/3 to our deck. We can flip again. Stop.
Yeah, hopefully we have the storm count and check that.
We can make storm, it's fine.
Yeah.
So the choke point here is actually mana, I think. So storm is 5,
we can rotate a claw,
6, 7. Yeah, we could go get LED.
Yeah.
By
rotate a claw, I mean you play a Witch Claw Talisman, you activate it, and find Liza Diamond, which is a mana neutral play.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reason why Bryant isn't using the blue mana here is in case something happens, we want to do something. But our opponent looks pretty F6'd, so.
Endies. Kablam. 3-0. That was a nice quick match. Lots of just like backfire. But that was fun. I hope, I mean, I had fun this match, but yeah. We'll see you in match number 4. That was insane. Alex, we're on the draw against the daddy. This person is known for playing Dredge. How do you feel about this 7 cards, or these 7 cards against Dredge?
It's a little slow. It's a lot of lands.
I agree.
We don't do anything until turn 2.
If we even do anything on turn 2.
Yeah.
This hand is not a keep. We'll be going to 5.
Yeah.
So this, I think, is actually acceptable. We could go to 4. Our opponent's gone to 4. But one thing that I found in the Dredge matchup, especially when they're on the play, is they love to play Cabal Therapy on LED on turn 1. And this would get around that. I actually think we're supposed to get rid of the Veil here. What do you think?
Yeah, the Veil could cycle at some point, but I think just keeping the mana is better. And we start to think about hard casting this Echo. Yeah. Maybe for that reason, like bottoming the Rite of Flame is also relevant, because that makes drawing a second Dark Ritual better.
Well, if you bottom, so there's a friction there. If you keep that, you have to fetch this for Taiga, and Taiga doesn't help cast fair. Echo.
It doesn't help cast Dark Ritual
this
either.
Is not
the colors
Dredge.
just work out. Yeah. Well,
could be facing
drew another Veil anyway.
Another mulligan to 4 deck that I don't want to say right now. No.
Brutal.
It's Reanimator. Okay. They drew the land. This is gonna be tough.
Yep. I think if they discard spell us, I think we do want to cast the Veil just to cycle, even though it cuts us off of black mana.
Yeah.
Because black mana isn't really our bottleneck. We just need to get this Echo in the graveyard, and having 2 looks at LED is better than having only 1.
I would agree. Uh-oh.
Spooky. Okay.
Targeting themselves. And
I think we're out of this game.
Yep. The problem with this is, even if we win game number 2, we will be on the draw for game 3. It's a pretty big risk.
Yeah.
So these grids can come out pretty easily, and then we'll just board in the chains. Not a whole lot to do here. Veil is a fine card in the matchup. Veil can actually beat Chancellor of the Annex. Alex, tell them how.
So Chancellor of the Annex isn't worded like Thalia. It's not it does not make your spells cost more. It makes a trigger that counters the spell, and since Veil protects against counter magic, or protects against the keyword counter, it affects Chancellor, it affects Chalice, affects Red Elemental Blast, even though those effects are not blue or black. The reason why we don't want a card that seems fast like Galvanic Relay in this matchup is that passing the turn is just so brutal. Given that they're the faster deck than us, and playing cards that take multiple turns to win the game aren't really what we want to do. So just keeping our deck in the fastest configuration, which is all about resolving ad nauseum, and having as many answers to Chancellor as possible is what we want in our deck post board.
I would agree. So I made this joke recently in the Storm Discord, Alex, and now I'm regretting it. As of right now, the 2 of us combined are 6-0 against Black Red Reanimator since Modern Horizons 2. Or am I about to ruin that?
Well, if you keep this hand, you will.
So this hand is turn 1 Wishclaw, assuming our opponent doesn't have Chancellor. I think that this is actually fine. And if they have Chancellor, we just throw away the Chrome Mox.
Mm-hmm. I think we bottom one of the... I guess we can bottom that or one of the fetches.
I just feel like Trop isn't really a land we want here. And they reveal
That's
Chancellor.
Fair. So they have the Chancellor. Yeah, so I think it's better to throw away the Chrome Mox rather than pay for it, because we want to hold up Brainstorm for discard spell. And for that reason, we should also probably play out Lion's Eye Diamond.
Well, part of me is wondering if we should just main face the Brainstorm in case we hit a bunch of artifact mana.
That's fair. And just assume we're going to get discarded?
Yes. Hide the Wishclaw on top.
I think Burning Wish is better than Wishclaw in this spot. So if we keep... So if we put back... I
think we hide the chain, too.
Yeah, hide the chain in the Wish. Yeah. So this is setting us up to Echo next turn. And echoing off of Burning Wish is better than echoing off of Claw for a bunch of reasons. It costs 1 fewer mana, and you don't give your opponent a Witchclaw Talisman. So those are two pretty big upsides if you have the choice between the two.
Yeah. So one thing to do in this matchup is don't give off tells that you may or may not have a Veil of Summer. So game one, we didn't F6 at all because we had Veil. So it's a dead tell if we start F6ing now that we don't have it. So you do need to click through. If you just F6, your opponent knows that you know, this is good. Yeah. They don't have the turn one reanimate hand. So we get to Echo now. And our opponent had to think about playing that discard spell because we weren't F6'd.
Yep. And we do want to fetch here and leave the Lotus Petal in play because the Lotus Petal has more options. The shuffle effect isn't good enough. And also, it doesn't change your probability of drawing a land, whether your fetch land is in play, because the land you fetch will be in the deck then. Correct. So there's no quote-unquote deck thinning properties of fetching or not fetching.
Ooh.
Okay. So
I think we should imprint Ponder and cast Brainstorm in case we just happen to hit the win.
Yeah, I don't think I would have played out the LED that early, but also doesn't matter that much because we're just going to discard our hand anyway to cast another Echo.
I mean, it doesn't matter if you play it.
Yeah, okay. So we put back Land Veil and play a Opal, and now we get to Echo with 3 mana floating.
You spin me right round, baby. Right round.
So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. So this is Tendrils.
Correct. Didn't even need this Mox Opal. 2 ships passing in the night.
Yep. I mean, they interacted with us. They took a card from our hand that didn't matter.
Yeah, it is technically true. Let's find the tendies. So, Alex, I used to be someone that resized the screen, and twice in a Legacy challenge, the resize caused me to click a random card. And since then, I just don't do it. I don't blame anyone that does, but it's just burned me twice, so I don't do that anymore.
There's also the option to right-click the card first. Okay. I've seen people do that before.
It's interesting.
This hand's so close.
I think we have to ship it.
Yeah.
This is better. I'm down with this.
This is so good.
So the question is, do you keep the Veil, or do you keep a cantrip? I think you just bottom the Veil because, like, you're not going to leave up mana. Like, we're just going to trim and ponder.
Yeah, I agree. So they don't have Chancellor.
I mean, they kept us 6 without Chancellor. We're probably just getting dead here.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, nothing we can do about this. They're going to 17.
There's the Reanimator matchup.
They can Gristlebrand twice. Yeah, we're just dead.
Yeah, this is a little bit brutal.
And they have grief.
They have the grief too. Yeah, we're super dead.
They can also reanimate grief.
Yeah. 1 goes to 3.
So hypothetically, let's say our opponent passes. And let's say we drew like a Chromox or a Lotus Petal. There is a line where you just go all in on Ponder, looking for Burning Wish.
Yeah.
You just have it. Yeah. All right. We still have nothing.
Yeah.
No, they can bring back Iona on blue.
Or just unmask us again, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, we're dead.
Yeah. Yep.
Sad.
That would have been a great draw if we still had all of our cards.
I'm just gonna look and see what we had. Aww. Womp womp.
Oh, all right. That's what happens when the combo mirror happens, so.
Yeah. Nothing to be upset about. Like, if a deck is faster than us, we don't really interact that well, so like Black-Red Reanimator, Oops, all spells. These decks are a little bit like Glass Cannons. Black-Red Reanimator less so than Oops. That said, they're not really resilient against the blue decks, where the Epic Storm is a lot better against the blue decks, but slightly slower. And being slower comes at a cost of being worse in the combo mirror, which is what you saw here. But let's try to get this 4-1. Let's try to get round number 5. Alex, I'm sure you'll see me with... I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Stick around. Round number 5 is coming up. All right, the 5th and final round. Alex, I believe you have something to tell us about our opponent.
Yeah, I recently played them on lands, and this is sketchy versus lands. We have 3 mana, so drawing Dark Ritual off the top just gives us Ad Nauseam on turn 1. But we don't really have any ways to find it other than casting this Ponder off Lotus Petal, which is sketchy. I think under previous Mulligan rules, you might keep this hand. Under the London, it's closer to a ship.
Keep.
Yeah, this hand's just so much better.
You actually just bottom a Wishclaw here, because having 3 lands against lands is just amazing.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to play turn 1 Talisman as well.
Really? That's interesting. I don't know if I feel the same, but it doesn't hurt.
It just makes you more likely to be able to go off on turn 2.
You need a +1 on turn 2, but I guess it's not unreasonable.
You need a +2 to go off on turn 2 if you don't play the Claw on turn 1.
Yeah, but like in my mind, I'm fine just being a turn 3 deck.
Sure.
Like, do we need to win quickly?
That's fair. I guess like they're not presenting Merit Layers that fast, like they didn't play an Exploration or something like that.
So my question is, do you play the Fetch or the Swamp?
I think we play the Swamp because we can just conserve our life total that way. Like no need to take random points of damage to fetch lands, right?
Yeah, the only downside of doing that is if we get Ghost Quartered.
Yep, that's fair.
And Ghost Quarters is like usually a one-off, so I'm not like super concerned with it. I didn't even consider Port, so that was a way of punishing us. So yeah. I think now what we do, and the Port actually doesn't matter that much if I'm being honest, so we're going to get our land tapped here. We're going to pivot into Alex's game plan of Petal into actually
Developing Claw, yeah.
This
is why they didn't attack with their Reclaimer, but whatever.
Okay, so now we can do Alex's plan of Petal into it, because we can add Nauseam in our upkeep. We couldn't if we didn't draw the Dark Ritual. I was going to say if we drew another piece of artifact mana we could, but Dark Ritual allows that as well.
If we'd played the Claw on turn 1, we'd be winning the game right now, but that's fine.
But we don't need to win the game. Like, yes, we want to win the game, but we don't need to win the game on turn 2 against lands. Like, why rush?
Yeah, especially game 1 where there's so little interaction for us.
Like, you know? What are they going to do? P-fire me? This is the second lands match this league. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think people are trying to pick it up as an answer to Delver and the Ragavan decks.
Is it good against those? Like
I honestly don't know.
The 12 Force of Will deck or 12 free counter deck? They're not playing 12. They're playing like, I don't know, 10 to 11.
Usually just 5 forces these days is what I see.
Well, I was counting days. So you have like 10 to 11. I don't know. But we're just going to Naz here.
Yeah, and discarding these extra lands doesn't matter. We're going to find more lands off of Ad Nauseam. They do have Punishing Fire up, so our stopping point is approximately 8.
But you know we're going to reveal Echo before then. Come on. All right, so can we win if we stop here?
Storm is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
We can play Brainstorm to help dig for extra storm. I think it's like... I think it's correct to flip.
Yeah, I mean, we get another card or two from our draw step as well, so...
That's good.
Yeah, I think that should do it.
So they're going to port our Swamp here.
Oh, right, yeah. I didn't even consider that they might...
Oh, they didn't. So everything's delightful.
Yeah. And drawing Chrome Mox, I think, just ends the game on the spot.
And our opponent losing out on that chip damage definitely cost them a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that they wanted to use Reclaimer on like Bazooka Bog, which is why they didn't port. It might not seem obvious.
Cast Past in Flames, Bryant.
Exactly. But not everyone knows that. So
yeah,
I feel like sometimes that gets a little bit lost in Legacy. There's so many experts, and sometimes people forget about the people getting into the format.
Yes, we do need to cast a cantrip before our tendrils, but...
Oh, like I wasn't going to brainstorm. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get Hull Breachered out of lands. But yeah, we can't actually cast any of these. Too many blue cards. So hypothetically, Alex, what if our opponent got Radiant Fountain right here?
I think we'd be fine.
Would we though? Would we?
I think that I guess the problem is that they got Radiant Fountain, they would then present lethal by tutoring for Dark Depths. But I think that our Hand of Cantrips can beat that. So we're gonna sideboard the same way we did against our round 1 opponent.
Correct. I was just thinking Glimmer Post is probably the land that they would most likely get to gain life. Like, we don't know that they're not a post deck. I mean, we do know that they're not a post deck, but they could have secretly been post. And Radiant Fountain, Glimmer Post would have put them to 21.
Yep.
Also, Glimmer Post has seen Legacy play at least in the last 2 years. I don't know if anyone's ever played Radiant Fountain in Legacy.
Yeah.
I definitely played it in Standard. Mono Red was really big at the time. Turn 3 Ashiok and a turn 4 Languish. Beautiful.
What a format. What a format.
Got to win with Ugin. Ugin was your primary win con. Alright, enough about like 2016 Standard. We're facing lands. Alex, what do you think about our hand going into game number 2?
Hand's great, has removal spells for a sphere. If we draw like Lotus Petal, then we get to do fun things on turn 1.
Petal actually doesn't do it. It's 7 mana. So
yeah, that's fair.
No matter what, this is a turn 2.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? Reclaimer? Okay.
Reclaimer.
I don't even know how you would turn 1 with this hand, unfortunately. But land 3 was actually a welcome draw, because assuming our opponent does sphere us here, we have the 3 lands to fight back. 4 lands? Okay. There it is.
Okay. Yep.
So there's gonna be some friction here, because they can end step get Thespian Stage and then next end step make a Mirage. I think that was actually a good draw. We can imprint a right here.
Yeah, to play for the colorless mana. That sphere resistance adds. Like, this does cost us some mana down the line, but this kind of helps us prepare in case they get some sort of lens that mess with our mana.
Well, I think
like
that they might be able to race our answer. That's what my concern is here. So they get stage now. Next turn they can activate. So if the last card in their hand is a land, they can actually Merit Liege next turn.
Yeah.
So the sphere might have been good enough.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll see what we draw here.
Crop rotation costs 2. So yeah, they're forgetting about crop rotation being taxed by their own sphere.
Mm-hmm. 3 mana.
Is this a loam?
Sure.
That is welcome.
Yeah.
That means that we are not dying. I'm good with that. Okay. So they still have this one unknown in their hand that they haven't played yet.
It's got to be crop rot the way they were tapping, right?
I think so. But here we're just going to pass, end step, kill this. And we have 4 mana in play. Let's assume all 4 of the lands live. Let's say that they don't find Wasteland or anything like that. So we can untap. And we have Dark Ritual, Rite of Flame, which is 5, and then a Wishclaw. We're actually a mana short of Ad Nauseam. That said, we do have this Ponder to maybe find, you know, another Ritual or Diamond, or even Rite of Flame.
Yeah, so let's see what they find here. It probably should be Dark Depths. So they can clock us and make us do something next turn. But we have a lot of outs on this Pondered for it to make 2 mana. So
yeah. Also, just like we have a lot of outs for our draw step as well. Opal, Petal,
land.
It could be Pyroblast that they've been sitting on in hand, actually. So if we don't need to cast the Ponder, it'd be nice.
Yeah.
Chose not to attack again. Okay. So I think I'm going to get Taiga here.
Yeah, no need to expose the blue source.
Green, black, red. Okay, and I'm not gonna double fetch because that takes a land out of the deck. And right now, a land would allow us to win with Adnaz. So I'm trying to just, you know, hedge my bets. Okay. Draw. That doesn't do it.
So this lets us echo in a pinch, but I think putting the Ponder on the stack is our best bet for right now.
I agree. All right, Ponder.
Ding.
Dong. Dark Ritual. Opponents just had enough. All right.
Someone knows we've got it.
That was the Epics from 12.4. Alex, thank you for joining me. Thank you for putting up with me. And hopefully you had fun as well as everyone watching.
I had a blast. This deck list is great. Picking up 4 1s in leagues.
Yeah. Our only loss was to being outraced, so not the end of the world. We didn't actually face any Delver after talking about it in the opening. Just mono lands.
Yeah.
Even our
only one Force of Will deck, so
our second opponent could have possibly have been lands as well. Alex thinks that they might have had what's it called?
Field of the Dead.
Field of the Dead in their deck. I don't know. It's possible. It's tough to really know. I don't know what the black was for.
Yeah. Either way, I think a lot of people aren't playing the premier blue decks in leagues because they're many tickets, and a lot of people's rentals accounts don't cover that.
Yeah, for sure. But it was a good league. I don't know if I have anything to say. I don't really want to change our deck. I think our deck's pretty good. Although I have to say, this is the second league in a row I ran into Death and Taxes. Not that I think that we want to be playing Massacre, but if Death and Taxes does pick up, Massacre is a card we could look at. I know that some people are less high on Aeve right now. I still think Aeve is pretty darn good. We didn't use it this league, but that doesn't mean it doesn't deserve its spot.
Massacre has been the 16th sideboard card of this deck, I think, almost the entire time we've shifted to Witchclaw Talisman. And every time we put it in the sideboard, we're like, man, this card is just not quite good enough, consistently enough.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I think one thing that people forget about is, like, when you are playing Massacre, there are so many games that you lose where you can never Burning Wish for it. And people are like, oh, if only I had Massacre on my sideboard. It's like, is Massacre supposed to save you from everything else? Like, what does Massacre do against Deafening Silence? Or the openings where they go Deafening Silence into Thalia. Like, you could be playing Witherbloom Command, but Command doesn't hit so much else of the format. So
yeah, Command missing Karn, missing Collector, basically just missing Collector Roof is one of the biggest knocks against it.
Yeah, for sure. If you really wanted to, you could also try a Command over the second Decay, but I think anything less than 2 Chain of Vapor is just wrong. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and Abrupt Decay is so good against the blue decks and so needed against the blue decks. Like, you don't want to fight over their lock pieces. That's not worth it. Fight over York action spells. That's really where we want to pick our fights.
Yeah, I'd agree. Alex, I think I'm all out of things to say. Any final words before we close out?
Deck is great. You should play it.
Yeah, follow Alex on Twitter.
Thanks
Alex,
for watching.
Where can they find you?
You can find me at Twitter at Vivarus_. You can find me at Twitch at Vivarus. And Discord also at Vivarus, especially in the Storm Discord. Come hang out. Brian and I are there all the time. We'll answer probably more questions than we mean to. It's great.
And you'll get more of our banter. So if you enjoyed that today, there's plenty of it in there. Alex, thanks again for joining me. I do appreciate it. And I hope you and all of our fans enjoyed the rest of their afternoon. See ya. Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.